I'm Jhae Finning, and this is my 1997 Acura NSX. So the car is something I've always wanted my entire life. You know, when I was in high school, I saw the first NSX and I was like, oh, God, that thing's really cool. And at that point, it just became kind of an obsession. You know, I saw it as a very obtainable, realistic dream car. And when I sat in one at the dealership, it just felt like a car I just had to have one day. So that became my goal. So when I originally bought the car, it was black and tan, and now, as you can see, it's a full vinyl wrap that I designed in Photoshop. It took me a year to do it, and it's actually based off of my favorite, childhood cartoon. I wanted to make sure that when I got done with it, I was something I was really excited for, because it's a risk, right? You take a really clean, beautiful look, a black car, red interior, red brakes, and you throw on an anime wrap. So this car right now is wrapped off of Macross Robotech. The actual vehicle, the fighter jet, is loosely based off the F-14. So I visited a handful of air and space museums because I wanted to know, what does a military vehicle really look like? And I spend a lot of time traveling for work, so I'm on the plane most of the year. I'm only home a few days of the week. So I had a lot of window seats. So what happened is I would look outside the window and just stare at the wing. Like, what is different this week? Or what am I seeing that I didn't see last week? Over the course of the year, while that's a really long time to develop something like this, it gave me a lot of time to go through and make a lot of corrections to the design, whether technical or just to be different. The weathering effect that you see all over the car, that wasn't in there until like the last 4 months of the project. Because I looked outside at the wing and I was like, there's really light weathering. It's not in your face. BC Racing coilovers, I have Futura design brakes. I need something with plenty of stopping power. Before I had an intake and just exhaust, and the car sounded great. When I decided to do this wrap, my car wasn't that fast. It was quick, it was a lot of fun, but man. So that's when I took a very unorthodox way to say, okay, let me drop 10 grand on a turbo, so that at least the car, from top to bottom, the look matches the performance and the performance matches the look. It's a Garrett 3076R, a really small turbo, a really fast spooling turbo. So styling is very important to me. And then there's always like that small little extra touch, like what can I do to make my car look a little better or a little cleaner? So I did a lot of looking and I found the dress-up bolts. So they have the front and rear kit specifically for the NSX. And for me, that took away a lot of the guessing. So to me, they were a natural solution. So, I have dress-up bolts on the front of the car, dress-up bolts in the rear engine, and it's been a nice visual addition to the car. There's 3 things that people do to their NSXs. I guess there's 4 things, right? Either they just leave them alone, they do all the naturally aspirated build, they go turbo, like I finally decided to do after all these years, or they go supercharged.
So my name is Brandon Hooper. It's my 95 NSX. It's supercharged. It's a lot of fun. Got it about a year and a half ago. Wanted one for a long time and finally saved up enough to get one, and I love it. My dad got me a 1/18th scale when I was like 9 years old, and I've kind of just fell in love with it ever since. I've always liked, old JDM cars and just the sleek profile and the timeless, style of the NSX. So obviously there's quite a bit of little visual stuff done. It's got the downforce NSXR wing with the Tommy Kyra gurney flap, 18 coilovers, 19-inch work D9Rs in the back and 18 up front, downforce carbon fiber front hood, and the spec GT front lip. Comtech supercharger, it's about 7 pounds of boost right now. Putting out about 350 to the wheels, and it's just kind of like constant power. So like from 2,000 all the way up to 8,000, it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. And it's like immediate, like, it doesn't like have to build boost. If you punch the gas, it's right at 7 pounds or, wherever you have it. The motor is stage 1 built by Science of Speed, just kind of like their normal FI build. Nothing too over the top, but just enough to handle a little bit more than OEM horsepower. Yeah, the market's pretty good for them. It's appreciating every year. A lot of people think they'll be 6 figures in a couple years. It's pretty much just like a weekend car, or if I ever have time to go out, you know, after work or something, just to let some steam out or enjoy the wind in my hair. And it's just fun, you know. I would love to daily drive it, but I don't want to put the miles on it, you know. Hold the value a little bit.
My name is Ravi. I drive a 1991 Acura NSX. We purchased this car in 2013 as a box of parts, put it back together in 1 month, and decided to get going for track days. First time we ever took it out in 2015 for the 2015 season. It won its championship for class, so it's been quite the project. We're currently have been using it and gearing it more towards time attack with a global time attack rules specifically. The time attack series is always growing and always pushing the boundaries of what you can do with a production type car, and we really enjoy that aspect of it. So the car is really built on the theory of added lightness. Still naturally aspirated. It is a 12-to-1 compression engine, runs individual throttle bodies by Science of Speed, has their Endurolite manifolds and exhaust as well, tuned over at Tony at UMS's shop. Made 320 horsepower about 4 years ago on his dyno. And then the only other thing we've really done is add suspension and brakes. Everything else was just weight reduction, weight reduction, and weight reduction, just to remove as much weight as humanly possible to give us the best chance we can in the corners, because we kind of knew we weren't going to have much on the straightaways. So, I mean, obviously a turbocharger, supercharger's power and torque is definitely the big benefit. Turbocharger has almost unlimited potential if the engine can be built to withstand it. Supercharger is very similar, you know, you have a lot of control over your power and torque. Individual throttle bodies actually don't generate as much power or as much torque as the other two options. They're more about the smooth power delivery. The reason we chose them specifically, though, is unfortunately turbochargers and superchargers tend to add more complication to the situation. In the end game, we will eventually have to move towards forced induction to get the power we want, but this has been the best intermediate setup that we can do that can do wheel-to-wheel racing reliably, you can do time attack reliably. To put it in perspective, this engine has 19,000 miles all on the racetrack, and it has not hiccuped once. So that was our main incentive, was to keep it simple, keep it reliable, keep it efficient.